Alright, welcome gamers. I am MonriaTitans, the writer for the Opinions and Truth blog and the host of the Weekend Game Show, where I educate on and discuss different aspects of game development to show why video games can take years to make to prevent another Cyberpunk 2077 launch scenario. And one of the ways I do this is with the Let's Read Some Shit videos, where I read aloud portions, emphasis on portions for DMCA and copyright reasons, of a couple or a few books regarding video games, their creation, their impact on the world, to show the legitimacy of video games as an artistic medium, and or whatever I feel like reading at the time. In addition, I also hope to promote literacy as a whole. I also provide artist shoutouts to human artists to combat AI art theft. All of them can be seen on the Become Empowered Instagram, all one word, one E in the middle. All rights reserved by the artist. Hashtag create don't scrape. If this is something you're interested in, then you can find the other videos on my YouTube channel under the handle at MonriaTitans. And also on Buy Me a Coffee, where educational quotes regarding video games and literacy are shared. If you tip through Buy Me a Coffee, 15% of proceeds minimum go to Kids Need to Read, whose mission is to help children discover the joy of reading and the power of a literate mind. Speaking of artist shoutouts, ta-da! Today we have Magdalena Vigil. Hopefully I said the last name right. I was only able to find them on ArtStation, but they have plenty of stuff on there. And they are currently, or reword, they currently have full-time employment, so not too concerned about not being able to find more about them. And this particular choice for the shoutout was inspired by Oxford English Dictionary's word of the day. I forgot to listen to the pronunciation before I did this. Let me make it so you can hear through my headset. Here is the British pronunciation.
Anthropopsychism. Anthropopsychism.
I already forgot it.
Anthropopsychism.
Anthropopsychism. Holy shit! And English.
Anthropopsychism. 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 Anthropopsychism.
I don't know about you, but I like the British pronunciation better.
Anthropopsychism. 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 Anthropopsychism.
Yep, British for the win. And before I get too caught up in that, let me get to what we are reading, but a few words beforehand. So today I was planning on doing a Let's Play Some Shit stream. I was going to bring back something I played in the last Let's Play Some Demos. That was a stream. I played it in the Let's Play Some Demos stream, I believe it was. A Dance of Fire and Ice. And this is what I get for not testing it out beforehand, but I found out today, for whatever odd reason, it's not working on my computer. And they, as in the developer, said, if you can't get it working, let us know. So I shot them an email. But having to go through all that just killed my wanting to play games. And I said, you know what? I haven't done a Let's Read Some Shit video in a while, so we're going to do that. And I'm doing something slightly different. Normally, I only read 2 books. Read portions of 2 books. Correction. Today, I'm going to do 3. And they are going to be art related, because in case y'all haven't noticed, art is kind of required for video games unless you do a more survey like format, but even then, it still needs to be designed. So, art. These three are going to be art related. And I picked the last three art related items that I shared on the Neverending Reading List. And the last three I shared that are art related to the Neverending Reading List are Fantasy Worlds Building, a guide to developing mythic worlds and legendary creatures by Mark A. Nelson. I did not notice the A when I made the hashtag. Oops, I'll fix it. And then we have Cute Chibi, Mythical Beasts and Magical Monsters. Learn how to draw over 60 enchanting creatures by Phoebe M., the creator of Bobblejot on Instagram. And we have Drawing Fantasy Chibi. Learn how to draw kawaii, unicorns, mermaids, dragons, and other mythical magical creatures. Illustrations by Tessa Creative Art and text by Sarah E. White. Alright, so these tend to go about an hour-ish. That's, I believe, when I'm only reading two. They can be longer, they can even be shorter, depending on what's available for reading. So they go as follows. Read the summary. I forgot to update the background image. 1-800, my bad. That is what I read last time. Fixing. That's February stuff. Where's March's? There we go. So we have, whoops, 1-800, my bad. I wasn't paying attention. Yes, this is what we're reading. Portions of. Yep, Fantasy World Building, Cute Chibi, Drawing Fantasy Chibi. This is what we're doing. And these tend to go as follows. Read the summary on the back of the book, which all of these have. Read the foreword and the preface, if applicable. I didn't look. And if there is no introduction, read part of the first chapter. Easy peasy. So, we be starting with going from left to right. Fantasy World Building. Alright. When artists and designers create a fictional setting, the milieu must be completely fleshed out, explained, and designed. In this book, comic and gaming art veteran Mark A. Nelson explores and demonstrates his methods for fashioning visually stunning, believable environments for fantasy creatures and characters. Scores of images and step-by-step examples illustrate how variation and experimentation lead to fresh, original designs for otherworldly beings, their environments, and their stories. Nelson discusses how to find ideas and borrow from history to add the strength of realism to a fantasy world. In describing the best ways to establish a habitat, he offers specifics about climate, terrain, flora, and wildlife. He shares insights into founding societies in terms of their meanings of survival, manner of warfare, spiritual practices. I didn't see if the word captions caught it. Spiritual practices. Style of dress and levels of technology. All visual creatives, illustrators, comic artists, and game designers who work with imaginative material will take a lively interest in the source of inspiration and practical guidance. Yay! There is a foreword by Ted Lockwood. And Todd Lockwood. There you go. And my usual complaint when reading these things, why is the font so small? Anyway, moving on. There is a monster in the heart of Texas. I first met this beast in 1996, shortly after joining the art staff at TSR, makers of the role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons. I was surrounded by luminaries in the field of fantastic illustration. They all knew and admired him. He visited once or twice, and I was struck by his gigantic personality and enormous good cheer. I quickly learned that his outsized presence and sense of humor are dwarfed only by the immensity of his talent. I speak, of course, of Mark A. Nelson. He taught illustration at the time at Northern Illinois University in DelCab, not far from the TSR offices. There, he helped to launch the careers of a great many notable illustrators: Tom Baxa, Jeff Laubenstein, Jim Nelson, R.K. Post, Armand Balthazar, Mike Sutphin, close enough, and many, many more. It's a long list, and none of them were women. All were touched by his glorious madness. Suffice it to say that his influence on the industry has been gargantuan. He invited us to his expansive home one time. It was like walking into the treasure hoard of a dragon. We drooled over countless flat files full of art, his own and others, and his massive collection of amazing memorabilia. I recall, in particular, the skull of a saber-toothed lion, which I covet to this day. Eventually, the university and the monster parted ways. He found himself in the Lone Star State, where he still resides, like an ogre mage, determined to populate the world with all manner of monsters, demons, primordial behemoths, fairies, dragons, and maidens fair and foul. His particular alchemy draws on the bottomless well of anatomical knowledge, creative energy, and diabolical wit. He is easily the most prolific artist I know. He's unstoppable. And that's a good thing. He makes the universe a bigger, scarier, more mysterious, funnier place. You hold in your hands a link to his special magic. Enter. Sharpen your claws, file your teeth, and prepare to unleash monsters of your own on the world. And that is the foreword. There is no preface, and there is no introduction. And I'm going to see the font size for the first chapter. If it's not too bad, it's the same size. Since it's 3 books, I'll read it's only 3 pages. 1, 2, 3, yeah. So the first chapter is only 3 pages. I'll read the first chapter, and then move on to the next book. Chapter 1, Visual Problem Solver. Working as a visual problem solver is what most artists do. We develop or are presented with a series of descriptions and ideas to create worlds, characters, and stories. It is our hope that we do this in believable scenarios in the form of finished artwork. Sometimes you work within a set of parameters set by the project. Other times you set these considerations yourself. When you are dealing with licensed properties, you have to work within provided guidelines. This by no means should stifle your creativity. In fact, you can find many ways of working and creating outlooks within these guidelines. I have worked on many licensed properties and have designed buildings, creatures, spaceships, rooms, interiors, and costumes that range from the humorous to the dark. I have drawn funny animals to terrifying ones, hard sci-fi to horror, and realistic settings to the fantastic. Each represented a new answer within this world, an avenue for me to conquer as an artist and grow my skill set. I try to look at it all as a challenge. What can I do to bring it to life with a set of visuals in an interesting way, a new way, or build upon the existing world and add my own personal touch? When do we start talking worlds? You get to fill them with everything, and I do mean everything. This includes your favorite habitats, rocks, grass, trees, critters, buildings. The list goes on and on. It is a rather daunting challenge, but here is where the seeds of this book came from. All right, so a little, I don't think this is a pull quote, pull section. Someone sets a problem, a sword. Just what does this mean? The mind starts. Sword, broadsword, two-handed battle sword, more than one blade, etc. What type of pommel? Grip. Crossguard or rain guard? Leather grip or bone grip? Type of metal? The finish? Damascus steel? Engraved? Flutes? Is it old and rusty? New and highly polished? Does it have decorations or engraving? And so on. And if the character has a very well-defined sword, you can always practice your skills in drawing and or painting metal and researching the method of how it was made with the hope of adding more believability to your finished product. Turning the page. Research. I am a huge proponent of research. When I started doing illustration, there was no internet. If you wanted to find things, you went to the library, checked out books, pored over magazines, and other periodicals for reference. As you collected images, you put them into file folders and labeled them. You created what was called a morgue. When illustrators died, their morgues often were passed on or sold. They were rich depictions of periods in time, examples of work by other illustrators, and amazing collections of images. Needless to say, it was a lot of paper, file cabinets, and weight to move. Nowadays, the internet has given us a worldwide morgue of images, but I still have reference files on my hard drive. The digital camera has added another file gathering tool. I have shot many different references with my camera and smartphone. The information highway is just a touch away, and your information gathering has never been easier. The morgue is an old habitat. It allows you to place materials where you need them, find images quickly, and forces you to organize photos and references. Character. Model sheets, FBS, front, back, side, or character design sheets is where we start. Everything is worked out by height, body shape, and clothing. Then the character is rotated to the side and back, and the drawing is finished. Sometimes a 3/4 shot is added for a middle action pose. Occasionally, when deadlines are imminent, I will do a 3/4 shot of a spaceship or other element, and the modeler will finish the 3D sculpture of it. The story. Whether you are working on a single page, a series of images, or a sequential set of pages, the story is the main driving factor. It can be as simple as drinking a cup of tea or as complex as the battlefield of life. You, as an artist, have many tools at your disposal. How do you use your camera? How are you going to establish the space, character, introductions, reactions to one another, action scenes, quiet moments, mood, time of day? When I was working on a comic series, I used a model to portray a major character and shot a whole series of her as I tried to capture her unique body language. Holding a coffee cup, leaning forward and talking, cradling the cup with one hand, then two, looking over the top of the cup. Storyboards for movies and comics share common terms. And visuals. The difference is movie storyboards stay within a horizontal orientation and comics are vertical. But all the principles in terms of establishing a close-up shot, medium shot, long shot, POV, point of view, eye level, horizon line, bird's eye, and worm's eye are the same. When I am watching a movie, there are many ideas running through my head. 1. Entertainment. 2. Storytelling and how the camera is being used. 3. Body language and the reactions of characters. 4. Does the story hold together? 5. Is it believable within the parameters established by the director, editor, writers? Idea. The story can be told partially by a tapestry on the wall and the reaction of the character. And that is all I will be reading of fantasy world building. Moving on to Cute Chibi, Mythical Beasts and Magical Monsters. Summary on the back. Learn the art of Chibi, step by adorable step. Chibi is Japanese slang for short, and the legendary monsters in Cute Chibi, Mythical Beasts, and Magical Monsters live up to this description with their roly-poly bodies that make them so lovable. Master this anime and manga drawing style with over 60 step-by-step tutorials of your favorite fantastical characters, including dragons, mermaids, centaurs, unicorns, kraken, and more. Instagram artist Phoebe M shares her tips and tricks for drawing Chibi creatures traditionally or digitally, coloring, shading, and highlighting, and accessorizing for added cuteness. There's also folklore sprinkled throughout the book for some extra fun. So get out your drawing tools and start creating your mystical kingdom. Phoebe M. Good grief. Started her Instagram account at Bobblejaw with the goal to create cute art for everyone to enjoy. She now has over 312,000 followers and growing, and is the creator of Tori and Samuel. Also available, Cute Chibi Animals. Learn how to draw 75 cuddly creatures. Cute. All right. And there is a lot. All right, so contents. Hello, what is Chibi and how to use this book? What is the font size? Better than the last book. So I will read up to I'll read up to they have a creature key in here on page 14. I will read up to that because the creature key is kind of long. And hopefully that will entice you to grab the book. A link to it will be in the description. So, starting at hello. I just said that. Hello, my name is Phoebe, but I'm also known as Bobblejaw. I started drawing at a very young age, but only settled into my current kawaii, Japanese for cute, Kawaii, Japanese for cute, style of illustrating about 2 years ago. Last year, I created a webcomic about a corgi dog and a munchkin cat called Tori and Samuel. Since then, I've been creating content for it and sharing it on social media platforms such as Instagram and Webtoon on a weekly basis. I was inspired to take the step toward creating a webcomic by a character I created and grew really fond of, and I hope that this book will be able to help you on your road to creating your own set of adorable chibi characters and mascots. What is Chibi? Chibis are most recognizable as mini versions of Japanese-style anime and manga human characters. They are defined by their large heads and tiny bodies, both of which contribute to their kawaii or cuteness factor. In anime shows and manga comics, chibis are often incorporated into more serious scenes as comic relief. Over the years, chibis have become more diverse, with many different styles of drawing them, i.e. variations in details, anatomy, art style, etc. Essentially, chibis are kind of like stylized caricatures of regular anime characters. Certain facial and anatomical features are exaggerated while maintaining the overall identifying appearance of the character. Here are some key characteristics of chibis: a large head and small bodies and limbs, faces with huge eyes and small noses and mouths. Cute. The hands and feet are exaggerated to give a more cartoonish look. Oh, that's the list. To draw a chibi animal character, start by taking the key features of the animal and exaggerating them. For example, here's a full-size Quetzalcoatl. That's actually close. Quetzalcoatl. 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 Okay. I tried. So for example, here's a full-size Quetzalcoatl with normal proportions, standing next to a chibi Quetzalcoatl that has the same key features of feathers, wings, a long neck, and an elongated face. Elongated face. The idea is not only to give your chibi Quetzalcoatl a larger head and chubbier body, which are common traits of chibi characters, but also to stylize the features that make a Quetzalcoatl look like a Quetzalcoatl, such as feathers, wings, and the body of a snake. This is so cute. Which is the point. How to use this book. After some helpful information here in the beginning of the book about tools and tips and tricks for drawing, there are 62 step-by-step tutorials divided into 4 sections. Slither and Squawk. Slither and Squawk. Felines and Canines. Hooves and Horns. Hooves and Horns, and earth, water, and subterranean creatures. Creatures. The creatures within each section are arranged alphabetically, for the most part. There are a few out of order for layout purposes. Some tutorials are even accompanied by a folklore fact, making this book not only an art book, but also a little educational. Let's get started. Tools. For your own illustrations, feel free to use any medium you're comfortable with. For all illustrations in this book, I used the Medibang paint software for iPad Pro, but you can create the same illustrations with traditional tools like pencils, pens, markers, or anything else you may have handy. I have all of the above, but not handy, stored away in bins that I'm looking right at. Not important. Anyway, traditional tools. If you're drawing your cute creatures with traditional tools, draw all your steps with a pencil first, and only go over your drawings with ink right before you're ready to color your artwork. The guidelines you will see throughout the step-by-step tutorials are meant to be erased once the inking is done, so be sure to do that before adding your colors. Also, you may want to invest in a high-quality eraser that will get rid of all those pencil lines. Number 1, sketch and draw your character with a pencil. Step 2, only use ink once you're happy with your final drawing. Erase any guidelines and then add color. Digital tools. If you're drawing on your desktop or laptop, Adobe Photoshop, Paint Tool SAI, and Clip Studio Paint are just some of the recommended software programs for artists. If you're like me and prefer to use your iPad to create your illustrations, Medibang Paint and Procreate Never heard of Medibang. I'm going to look into that. And Procreate are just some of the tools that are intuitive and equipped with a wide variety of brushes and functions to help you create your artwork. Tips and tricks. Tips and tricks. In this section, I share my tips and tricks for drawing, inking, coloring, shading, and highlighting chibi creatures. Sketching and drawing. To contribute to the cuddly and cuteness factor of your chibi creature shape, keep your shapes and lines nice and loose rather than sharp and angular. This means adding curves to your lines and routing the points and corners of shapes like triangles and trapezoids. Facial guidelines. When drawing a character's face, adding guidelines to show where the character is facing helps to position facial features such as eyes, nose, and mouth. As shown in the example below, the eyes should be centered at the horizontal guideline, the nose should be placed where the guidelines meet, and the mouth should be aligned with the vertical guideline. Cute. Facial expressions. Giving your character different facial expressions adds personality and makes them feel more relatable. Alright, inking lines. When it is time to ink your character, drawing with consistently thin lines can make the final outline look a little flat. Varying the thickness of your lines helps make the illustration feel more organic and interesting. Coloring. In this book, you will learn how to draw chibi creatures, but if you would like to color your characters, here's how you can add color to your drawing after you've inked your character. 1. Start with your lined creature. 2. Add any distinctive markings to your character. Make sure to draw these markings in pencil. If you're drawing by hand or on a separate sketch layer, if you're drawing digitally. You will remove these lines when you're finished coloring in the markings. If you're coloring your artwork by hand with colored pencils, Copic markers, or watercolors, fill in the sections with the different colors. If you're coloring your artwork digitally, fill in the overall outline with the character's most basic colors. You can then add the colors for the markings layer by layer. That's actually a really good idea. Shading. Shadows depend on where the light is coming from. In the example below, the light source is coming from the top left. The colored spheres next to each character below show how the shadow is cast based on the light source, based on where the light source is positioned. Okay. Highlighting. For some characters with more reflective skins or textures, you will want to add a little shine to the parts that are closest to the light source. As you can see with the example of the Cthulhu, the surfaces facing the light source are highlighted with a brighter color, while the shadows behave in the same way as in the shading section above. Okay. And then accessorizing. Once you're done drawing and coloring your characters, feel free to give them some cute clothes and accessories. Because of a chibi's small stature, the best rule is to keep those items somewhat simple. For example, you can add a detail like a huge button to a bag or a basic pattern on a t-shirt as long as it doesn't make the item look too cluttered. And in this example, they accessorized a mermaid. And the next page is the creature key, which I said before was where I was going to stop. And last but not least, we have drawing fantasy chibi. Learn how to draw kawaii unicorns, mermaids, dragons, and other mythical magical creatures. Illustrations by Tessa Creative Art. Text by Sarah E. White. And they have a summary on the back. they jump right into the different creatures. Okay. Alright. So, summary on the back. Create your own adorable anime and manga inspired mythical creatures. Crack open your sketchbook. Grab your pens and pencils and get ready to turn your mythical illustrations into kawaii, cute, and chibi, small creatures. With step-by-step instructions and easy-to-follow tips and tricks, this instructional handbook will help you bring a new level of anime style to your sketches. Start with a few familiar fantasy creatures like a unicorn, mermaid, and dragon before learning how to transform ancient lesser-known beings like the basilisk, Oni, O-N-I, Japanese dragon, and kraken into adorable chibi versions. Whether you're a beginner or a drawing pro, drawing a fantasy chibi makes this fun anime-style drawing easy with workbook-style pages that provide a space for readers to try their hand at practicing each illustration multiple times before they master it. Alright. And they get straight to it. So first section is a fantasy humanoid creatures. The next section is fantasy land creatures, and the last section is fantasy water creatures. So, the first one they show us is the gnome, and that is the first section of the first section. So, this is, glad I said 3 books, because this is really short. Love it. Alright, so I'll just read the steps for the gnome and call it there. So, gnome. Gnomes are famous for hanging out in gardens, often underground, and are known for being clever, mischievous, and of course, short. This colorful little guy is easy to draw and fun to decorate in lots of different ways. Step 1. Step 1. Make the gnome head round at the top and mostly straight down the sides with a shallow curve along the bottom. Draw a vertical guideline in the middle of the head and a horizontal one about 1/3 of the way from the bottom. Add ears if you'd like to, though his beard will cover them up later. They have to have beards? Step 2. Add a round eye on the left side of the face with a dark line at the top for the eyelashes. Step 3. Repeat on the other side. Sketch a half circle where the mouth will go and a large beard underneath the bottom of the face. This is so damn cute. I wish you could see the illustrations. Step 4. Draw a stocking cap with a pom-pom on top of the head. Add thin arching eyebrows over the eyes. Step 5. Complete the beard so that it covers the sides and bottom of the face. Don't forget a little mustache over the mouth, which is another oval inside the first oval. Draw the rest of the stocking cap so it covers the forehead. Add a slightly curved rectangular shape below the beard to be the gnome shirt. Step 6. Make 2 small rectangles below the first to make the gnome's pants. Step 7. Add stripes to the shirt to make his belt. Step 8. Erase the guidelines and add details to eyes. Add sleeves to the shirt and little human-like hands. Draw curved shoes below the pants. Cute. And then on the next page, they actually have practice drawing the gnome below. Keep going from step 1 and then try a few from scratch. And then it's the dwarf. So, yeah, these are so damn cute. And I am going to call it there. Had I known it was going to be this short, I might have grabbed a 4th art book. But 40 minutes isn't too bad a place to stop. Also, I have 0 sense of time because of ADHD, so there is that. So, I hope you enjoyed it. that was, as you can see on the screen, since I now have the correct image. Oops. So we have fantasy world building, cute chibi, and drawing fantasy chibi. Before we get to the closing, I am going to show you lot the artist shout out one more time. Magdalena Weigel. Yeah, I can't really yell at the captions for not getting that because I don't really know the name either, and that makes me feel bad. But do go check them out on ArtStation. There will be a link to the artist shoutout on the Opinions and Truth blog, linked in the description. Why am I getting hiccups now of all times? It's not that big a deal. Okay. Alright, so thank you for watching. There are all the links and things, and the full link to the WGS card was... Oh, you can still see most of it. becomeempowered.card.co. That's where you can get to all the links and things. If we were on Twitch, you could do Command Discord to get to the Discord. I am MonriaTitans on Instagram and Twitter. That is more for the Opinions and Truth blog, and myself for more about the channel. To get to the artist shoutouts and the quotes pertaining to the cause of the month, that is Become Empowered, Be Empowering. I tried to get those to match. I really did. And if you're interested in any of my own art, that is Titans Monria Art. And for my favorite affiliation, Bookshop.org, what I like to call the Etsy for small business bookstores. Want to try to get away from Amazon, who's trying to corner the book market and raise funds for local bookstores instead? Want to get more books to yourself? Want to support the channel? Well, there's 3 skips with a stone, there and there. 3 skips with a stone instead of kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Go to bookshop.org/shop/MonriaTitans and check the books out. And if you're going to be searching around as long as you see this, then I should still get a commission for it. Alright, and now we come to a close. Remember, we are gamers not because we don't have a life, but because we choose to have many, which can also be said of readers. If anyone asks why you like video games, remind them a game is a problem-solving activity approached with a playful attitude, a quote by Jesse Shell. And if anyone gives you shit for your interest, tell them you may not like video games, but what I learned from them is this: no enemies in front of you means you are going the wrong way. Thank you for watching. May every decision you make in the future be in the spirit of fairness, and may the rest of your day not go to shit. See you next time. Why does it never catch that? See you next time. Bye.